Bueno, ok, entonces bienvenido a un nuevo episodio de edición especial SoftTIC 2023. Estamos acá desde Bucaramanga en FedeSoft y hoy tenemos el placer de tener nuestra primera entrevista en inglés. Vamos a meterle subtítulos, debe estar saliendo por acá. Pero tenemos aquí a Simon Lancaster, or Lannister. We're talking about
Lancaster. No Game of Thrones.
no Game of Thrones, but it sounds a little bit like Game of Thrones. Lancaster, it sounds, very, very cool.
It is
Welcome
a great
to
show.
Un Poco Geek.
Gracias, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I know we have a little bit of time, so we're going to do a rush interview, but not rush, but cool.
High quality,
High
compact.
quality. Yes. So, Simon, you're here first time in Bucaramanga, Colombia.
First time in South America, first time
Really?
in Colombia. Yeah, I've spoken all over the world, but this is the first time
How
in
come you're
South
leaving
America.
so soon, man?
I've been here for a few days before, but
Oh, yeah.
I have engagements in the U.S. tomorrow, so I'm taking a red eye home tonight. But
Okay.
it was really, really great to be here and see the ecosystem and all the founders and the hackathon, the students. It's really exciting. And the quality of this event too has been great.
Yeah, I love it. Simon, you have worked for very big companies from Google. You were over 10 years at Apple, I worked at Samsung when you were working in Apple. We saw the beginning of what we didn't know was going to happen, right? When I went into Samsung, we didn't know we were going to have the Galaxies. We didn't know that was going to be a success. We didn't know the war that Samsung and Apple are going to have a couple of years legally and then, market-wise. and you, of course, didn't know what was going to happen, but you were in the middle of all that growth from Google in 2007, right?
Yep. And you forgot BlackBerry too. That's
BlackBerry.
another
Oh, yeah,
big
we
part
have
of the
to talk
story.
about BlackBerry. Because I was telling Simon that when BlackBerry was a huge success, we at Samsung here in Colombia were actually just trying to see how we're gonna kill this huge player, but that had a little bit of problems with the hardware, right, and the software that was behind this, and the operating systems that at the time, unfortunately, only Android and iOS were the ones who survived.
Totally.
Windows Phone died. The BlackBerry died. The
unfortunately.
Nokia operating system also died. And whoever didn't choose Android basically died because Apple was closed, I wonder what would have happened if iOS would have opened their operating system.
Fundamentally, I don't think Apple's always been a full stack company, building software that leverages their own hardware, and that's kind of part of the experience. But I did really like your take that we talked about before we started recording, which was what would have happened if BlackBerry had opened their BBM Messenger onto other platforms.
We used to call it here the pin, because you had to give the pin so you could
Oh,
shop.
that's right. That's what you meant, iPad.
And actually, we actually couldn't use the word BlackBerry. So we call these devices pins, because we are I'm not proud, but we did Black PR campaigns on BlackBerry
Okay.
because we're trying to position WhatsApp.
Sure.
And it's actually very interesting because if they will have taken one decision different, because they actually opened it a year later to all the platforms.
But it was too late.
It was too late.
Yeah.
Talk about timing, Nokia decided to go with Windows Phone instead of Android. And I remember we were waiting for the press conference, all the people from Samsung. And when they said, we're choosing Windows Phone, not Android, everybody at Samsung celebrated. Because they knew
It was
they were doomed. Because in developer side, you don't want to develop for all these different platforms. It's so difficult.
That's right.
It's different to develop for Apple. It's different to develop for Android.
For sure.
Completely different.
Completely different.
And you had a very successful career in these huge companies. Tell me a little bit about your experience in Apple and all those years where you suddenly had all these patents and all this really cool stuff.
Yeah, so I was at Apple for 11 and a half years from 2009 to 2008, 2019. Did a lot of innovative work, flew all over the world, worked with companies all over the world, connected ideas and concepts from around the world. One of the reasons why I'm always open to visiting new places and experiencing. think a lot of innovation comes from just being exposed to a variety of concepts and experiences. But eventually, once Apple dominated 2019, I did leave, and I decided to kind of dive into the world of startups and entrepreneurship. Worked with 3 startups as founder early employee. One failed, one did okay, and one did quite well. And eventually I decided to become a venture capitalist, which had been my hobby for a while, angel investing.
Right.
But really decided to follow my dream and my passion, which is to support early stage founders.
But you were telling me that the point of view from a venture capitalist to the traditional, to somebody who has the technical side, changes a lot on your decisions on what to invest in.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So when I started investing as an engineer at heart, as I am, a lot of my decisions were going based on product and market need, thinking like an engineer. But I've learned that the best investments and the best investors are picking early stage startups based on founders.
Right.
And the founders fit, their grit, their personal perseverance to solve a problem because they have some really deep, visceral pain with the problem that they're solving. In addition to having the technical background needed, that's really what we love and what we look for now.
I agree on that part completely, because I speak a lot also in public, and one of the things that troubles me with the youth today is that a lot of these new startups and new entrepreneurs and these new quick buck kind of entrepreneurs are not really trying to solve that thing. They're really after the money, and
Which is not the right motivator, obviously.
Because the thing is that when you see these people who are really trying to change the world, who are really trying to solve a problem, or a pain of the society, or a culture, or a city, or a country, or whatever, you see that they never are money oriented.
Yeah.
They're always, just focusing on that innovation, but money always comes behind.
Absolutely. Yeah. Money should not be the main motivator. I don't think I need to be saying this out loud, but definitely worth reiterating. The best founders, the best entrepreneurs, and the best companies are solving a pain point that they see in the industry that they viscerally feel like they have to solve. And, beyond being good engineers and good product builders, I think we were talking about earlier, storytelling is kind of the next most important thing that we look for after grit and good builders, because ultimately if you're building something in the world of venture capital, you have to be able to sell it. You have to be able to communicate to people of all walks of life, of all levels of education and levels of expertise, and communicate what your product is, what the pain point you're solving, what the market is.
That's okay.
Do a quick retake.
No, that's fine.
What the market is that you're solving for, and communicate that to whether it's customers or investors.
But you were also giving me the two sides. Sometimes where they're too technical, it's not easy for them to be storytellers. Sometimes where they're storytellers, which usually come from being business guys, sales guys, marketing guys, they don't have a lot of the technical part. How do you complement those?
Team composition,
or
expertise composition. I think we need to wrap up soon. But
that's okay. Well, Simon, just to end, you were talking about the fourth
industrial revolution.
Fourth industrial revolution.
Yes.
Why do you think that's coming, or how is that going to change the way we look at things?
So what I presented today on the opening keynote was essentially the concept that industrial revolutions have greatly increased our productivity as a human race. But with each successive industrial revolution, the time span has reduced. So first was 140 years, the steam engine. Second, electrification in factories was 70. The third, IT, was about 35 years. And we're at the cusp of the fourth. And I really think that AI and the increase in speed of development that AI is going to help augment research, development, and knowledge work is going to continue that trend of reducing the cycle of technology. So therefore, the fourth industrial revolution is and should be even shorter than the last, shorter than 15 years. If we continue the trend of halving, it should be maybe 12 to 15 years, which is crazy to think about. But that means that now investing in industrial type products, industrial revolution, and industry 4.0 is finally in line with venture capital.
Right.
Venture capital funds are typically 10 to 12 years in lifespan. That's really exciting for me as someone that's building a new venture capital from the ground up.
Well, Simon, it was great to have you here in Poco Geek. I wish we would have recorded all that we talked before.
That's right.
You know,
It was a good
but
chat.
I want to have you back again on Poco Geek.
Sure.
You know, even we have to do virtually.
Or in Bogota, no problem.
Please. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, stay connected, quédense conectados. Vamos a seguir aquí desde Softic en Bucaramanga. Gracias. Chao.